It's my birthday and I'll cry if I want to. Hey everyone, I'm Annie G and welcome to my channel where the scents are sweet and the reviews are sometimes spicy and sometimes hyper emotional. And guess what? It's this Cancer's birthday month. So you know what that means? We're crying about the past all month. The month of June is my birth month. I always get super nostalgic and introspective around my birthday. And something about this birthday, I don't know what is going on, maybe because what's going on in the world, or I don't know where I am in my life or the age, I don't know, but I've been filled with a little bit of existential dread. Like, why am I here? What legacy am I leaving? Will anyone care if I die? Anywho, but because it is my birthday month, I have been thinking about all the things that remind me of certain periods of time. And so I thought it'd be fun to make a video about all the perfumes that represent different eras of me. So these are perfumes that for a very specific reason remind me of a very specific time. Not necessarily because I wore them during that time, but something about the vibe of the perfume matches the vibe of that era of my life. So we're gonna go from baby Annie all the way up to current and future Annie, what the vibes were and what the vibes hopefully are going to be. So if that sounds fun, if you love an overshare, like, subscribe, all that good stuff, it means a lot to me. And let's talk about the eras of my life as perfumes. So first up, we have pretty much like middle school through high school. I don't really remember being young, but middle school through high school, growing up, the perfume has to be Freckled and Beautiful. Not only does the name speak to that time of my life, but the smell itself is just something about it. There's such an innocence to it, a playfulness, a charm, a feeling that anything is possible, and just like a sweetness. When I think of baby Annie, I'll put up some pictures. Why not? Why not? Here you go. That was the vibe. That was the vibe pre-middle school. Here's the vibe middle school. And then here is high school. So when I think about her, I had to grow up so fast for a lot of different reasons. I was the youngest of three, and I never appreciated the freedom and just the joy of being young, not really having any responsibilities. And that's how this makes me feel. So when I wear that now, I feel like young, like my inner child gets to feel that carefree safety. You're safe. Something about this perfume makes me feel very safe. I think because there's a milk and a biscuit note, so it's very comforting and homey, and it just makes me feel very safe, and like I can just go and be young and fun and not have to worry about taking care of business. And that, yeah, just freedom when you're that age. This perfume gives me that feeling. It also reminds me so specifically of one summer. It was without a doubt the best summer of my life. Junior to senior year of high school, me and my best friends, most of us are still friends to this day. It was me, my friend Tati, and Alex, and then a bunch of dudes, the bros. Just a bunch of dudes. And it wasn't romantic. We were just platonic friends, and there was something so sweet about that. Like having really good guy friends when you're a teenage girl. I felt so protected, and I felt so I could be myself and not worry about wearing makeup because I wasn't into any of them. I didn't care. So I was just myself. We went camping all the time because I grew up in Colorado. So we would go camping all the time, every weekend. There was this wealthy neighborhood in the town I grew up in, and they had a community pool, and we would sneak in almost every day. We were at that pool. So Somerset pool, sorry. We were sneaking in and using and abusing that pool. I was so tan. I was so skinny, which like doesn't matter, but I hated myself at the time. But when I look back at pictures, I was like, you looked great. You were beautiful. You were just young. You were 17. What did you think you should look like? And so this perfume really reminds me of that and kind of helps me make up for some of that I didn't appreciate at the time. But it's just so sweet and special to think about that summer, and this just brings me right back there. So high school Annie, Freckled and Beautiful. Not only the name, but just the comfort, the feeling of this perfume. That's her. And then we went to college. Oh, I hated my college experience. I did not have the fun bunch of friends going out college experience that a lot of people have. I know not everyone has that, and it's a privilege to go to college for sure. I was very lucky to even get to go to college, but I shouldn't have gone to college because I didn't know what I wanted to do. All I had ever had fun doing and cared about was theater. I was a theater kid. And so I was like, I'm gonna be a theater major. Anywho, and I wanted to get out of my house. I wanted to get out of Colorado. I wanted to get as far away from my family as possible. And so I got a thing in the mail to some random Catholic small private school in Portland, Oregon. And they were like, we'll give you a scholarship. And I said, great. But I didn't think about it. I just was like, great, I don't have to go to CU where all my friends are going. And great. And it's cheaper. So fantastic. So I left and it was such a bad experience. Not all parts of it, obviously. And something about this perfume, Matchbox Romance, reminds me of living in Portland, going from 18 to 21, on my own, isolated, no friends, rainy city, going from one of the sunniest states, okay, to one of the rainiest states. You can imagine the mental health crisis that caused. And also being in a long distance relationship with my high school boyfriend. Big mistake, okay? Making zero friends. I don't talk to anyone I went to college with. Maybe one or two people here and there, but like, I made no friends. And Portland is the city of roses, so I had to pick a rose perfume, and something about Matchbox Romance. It has this melancholy because of the smoky incense notes in here, but it still feels youthful and sweet and young because of that jammy rose. So you get this jammy rose and then this kind of melancholic, smoky, cloudy incense that dirties it a little bit. That time of my life should have been so fresh and fun and exploratory and making friends and establishing my own community, but it just wasn't. It just wasn't. And so this kind of feels like both of those aspects of being youthful and that sweet jammy rose and the Rose City, Portland, Oregon, but it just having a dark cloud over it. Those 4 years just have such a dark cloud over it, which is fine. Not every year of your life can be fun and amazing. And I don't regret it because it made me who I am. But something about this perfume, every time I smell it, I'm a little like, yeah. So College Annie, Matchbox Romance, a little sweet, a little rosy, but also a little clouded and smoky. Okay, and then I thought not 1, but 2 degrees in theater would be a great idea. So then I went to grad school, okay? No break, straight from undergrad to grad school. And I went from Portland, Oregon to Ohio, Athens, Ohio University. So I went from a tiny Catholic school to a huge party school in the middle of Appalachia. And when I was in Portland, the last year, I kind of got sucked into a Christian cult a little bit. I'm very prone to a cult. I love a shared vision and I love community. So fervor around a belief like really gets me. And I was very vulnerable because I had been so lonely for so long, and they took me in and I was like, oh my God, but it was like a cult and it got really toxic and it was not good. So I ran away to Ohio. And so for that reason, I have to pick Heresy. So me going from hyper Christian cult and separating myself completely in Heresy, allowing myself finally to be bad. I'd been so buttoned up, and like I said, I kind of had to grow up really quick. And in college, I was so serious and I just wasn't bad. I just did everything I was supposed to. And then I went to grad school and I was like, yes. And I had a little rebellious moment and I broke free from the cult and I was like, oh, this is what living is and being an adult is. And something about Heresy, not only the woody freshness really remind me of the hills of Appalachia and the freshness of the hardwood forests. But then there's something a little zealous about it. It's zesty, but then it's watery. And oh my God, the rain and the humidity of Ohio and breaking free from the coal and being in grad school, working my ass off for an acting degree. Surprise. Are you surprised that I have 2 degrees in acting? Let me know down below. Yeah, it was a refreshing 3 years in a way, because I broke free from a lot of things and grew up in a lot of ways and made two of the most special friends to me in that time. So it wasn't all bad, but something about it is a little dark. I always say this smells like crying behind a church in the rain. And that's what grad school was in a lot of ways, except for I was crying behind the theater because I was so stressed. But then it's like invigorating because I'm breaking free from all this stuff and it's fresh and watery and cool. Oh my God, thought I was so cool. I only wore black. All through grad school, only wore black. I thought I was so cool. I'll show you a picture. Grad school Annie. And yeah, this just really reminds me of that time. So for grad school Annie and my years in Ohio, Heresy, it's just fitting for a lot of reasons. And then I moved to New York. So I was like, oh, I'm gonna be an actor. I have to go to New York. And then I was burnt out on the whole art of it all. So I worked for a talent agency in the city, which was an insane experience to see how the industry really worked. Was alarming, okay? It is what you think it is. And my years in New York were a realization that everything that I had been working for and working hard for the last 8 years, wanting to be an actor, wanting to make it, wanting to make movies, wanting to be famous, like it wasn't gonna happen. And my signature scent at the time was Rose 31. And I talk about this a lot. I talked about it in my Perfumes That Make Me Cry video. Rose 31 is one of the most triggering scents to me. I can't smell it without getting extreme anxiety because that 2 years in New York was a brutal awakening and a realization that everything I had been working towards was a lie and wasn't gonna happen, frankly. Yeah, whatever, like hard work, But you guys, it is so random. It really is so random, like who makes it and who doesn't. It also is very much who you know. It's just how it is. You can work hard all your life and you might make it. Might. Some of the most talented people I worked with just never made it. It's fickle. And I was like, oh, I don't want that. I don't like this. It was icky. I didn't like the manipulation. I didn't like I hated it. And I was like, oh my God, my entire life has been a lie. Everything I've ever dreamed of. I dreamed of living in New York my whole life. I dreamed of being an actor on Broadway. And I was like, oh my God, my entire life is a lie. And that is what Rose 31 smells like to me. The realization that everything you've worked for is a lie and you don't actually want that. And OMG, who am I now that I don't have that? So it was this like, oh my God, who am I? Crisis, true identity crisis. And so Rose 31 to me smells like an identity crisis, an anxiety attack. Just an overwhelming, oh shit. So that was that era. New York Annie, Rose 31. Woo! Anywho, we made it through. And that leads us to then sending an SOS to my best friend who had just gotten married, mind you. SOS, can I move in with you and your new husband? God bless you, Tati. Like, I will never be able to repay you for the generosity of taking me in. But the perfume that really feels like the next 3-4 years of my life, moving home, admitting defeat. To me, that was admitting defeat. Was moving back to Colorado felt like, okay, yeah, I didn't make it and I'm admitting to everyone that I gave up. But in the same way, the sweetness of being surrounded by community and having people that care about you and being given the space and the grace to I rebuilt myself. I truly, stone by stone, rebuilt myself and my identity. And I was like, who is Annie? Because I had just been going and hadn't stopped to be like, what do you want? Who are you? And so Annabel's birthday cake, that is why this perfume is so special to me, is because I was wearing this. I moved back 2019, 2020, like right before lockdown. It's terrible timing. But then coming out of that and rebuilding myself in the sweetness and the fun of feeling finally myself. This perfume, when I smelled it, I was like, oh my God, that is me. And my dad growing up, he calls me Annabel. So something about it, this is me. And the rediscovering yourself and the confidence and stability that came with that's what this perfume is to me. The sweetness and the comfort of coming home to yourself and not caring what other people think. And I love this. I love the powdery florals. I love the vintage kind of couch vibe. I love a cupcake. I love a little rose. And that's what this perfume is. And that's what that time was, those years when I first moved back to Colorado, just rebuilding myself. I started a completely new career in tech. which I was like, who am I working for a startup? Lame. I was like, you're so lame. Now I love it because I'm actually making money and I'm not living on the street. Thank God. But anyways, this perfume feels like that time of rebuilding and fun, but also being grown up. It's a very grown up perfume, grown up smell that, yeah, makes me feel confident and beautiful. I finally felt pretty. I was going on dates. I was leaving guys on red, which I had never done before. I was like always the girl that was like, love me, love me, love me, love me. And then I finally was like, and was just being myself truly for the first time. And so this perfume is very special because it's not only does it have that essence to it when I smell it, but it also was what I was wearing at that time. So love this perfume. And I loved that era for me. And then I met my lovely husband, who is an angel on earth. I was so feral and having so much fun being single and was so afraid of anyone to ruin my good time. He was such a gentleman. He would text me in the morning, text me all day, check in, and I hated it. I hated it. I had to tell him to stop talking to me. I was like, if this is gonna work out, you have to text me less. And he was like, okay, I hear you. I'll text you good morning and good night because that's who I am. But if you need space for the rest of the day, I totally respect that. And I was like, okay, thank you. And then we got married. And so the perfume that reminds me of that time is Rose of No Man's Land. Romantic. And I did wear this when we were dating. So this one like is spot on. Romantic, starting to settle down. It still has that earthy, spicy. I was a little spicy to him. But the groundedness of being truly loved and seen for the first time, and like the comfort of finding someone who I truly trusted to take care of me and to not break my heart. That's what this perfume reminds me of. And yeah, like falling in love and building a home together and doing things for the first time. Like I had never lived with a partner. I hadn't had a boyfriend, like actual committed relationship since high school. And so this feels like growing up. And the version of me that from Annabel's birthday cake really felt like me to grown up in a settled version of myself and being seen. This perfume smells like me. I feel understood by this perfume. And that's how Kyle makes me feel. Really, truly understood and loved anyway. The good and the bad. And so, yeah, I would say, yeah, the growing up, starting our new life together, maturing, being grown, settling down, but it's still beautiful. So the last, I think, 4 or 5 years, that's what this reminds me of. And it's very special. I love this perfume. And so that brings us to future. My birthday this month. I feel Rose of No Man's Land. It's definitely more in the past. I don't feel it so much in the future. So I've been thinking a lot about what I want to step into and the perfume that would represent that. And I'm torn between two. The first one that immediately came to mind was Love Delight. Why? Because it's expensive as hell. And I plan on being successful, okay? No, I'm just kidding. I feel like I'm stepping into a softer, easier version of myself. I've been so hard on myself and others, high expectations. And I'm entering an era of just not caring. I feel like some of the things I used to care about, I just don't care about. And something about Love Delight feels so easy and relaxed and comforting and just soft, but still elegant, still warm, a little spicy, a little fun, a little flirty. Delight. I just want to be happy. And I don't want to try so hard. And I don't want to have to prove myself so hard. And I just want things to be easy. And I just want to be a softer version of myself. And so that is what came to mind with Love Delight. Then the other one is Labo Morphée. It's warm and comforting because of the vanilla, but it's watery and it's easygoing and it's elegant. It's so elegant and it's a little different and unique. I've always been very individual and I really love that about myself. So I want to maintain that. And something about Labo Morphée feels very singular, very unique. There's nothing else quite like it. One of one. And I like that. but it's not shouting in your face. And that's the easygoingness that I want to step into. More of I don't have to try so hard. I'm just here. I'm enjoying what I have in front of me. I'm not fighting so hard for everything. And I'm happy and I'm making healthy choices and I'm not sad all the time. And that feels, both of these kind of feel like that. So I think future Annie in different ways. And also, is this not the cutest thing you've ever seen in your life? Can you believe this little Amouage dabber? Like, what the hell? That's so cute. Anyways, so love that and love this. And I think these feel like for my birthday, what I'm stepping into in this new year, I really want to go be easygoing, be myself, be happy, and not have to try so hard for everything. And just let it, just enjoy and just see what happens. So, well, thank you for listening. If you made it this far, wow, thank you for listening. A bit of an overshare, but I think it's really fun to associate perfumes with different versions of yourself and think back fondly and reflect on where you've been to know where you're going or where you might want to go. And when I look back at some of these harder eras of my life, there is still something beautiful about them because they made me who I am today. And so even though some of these perfumes have a, not as positive association, they're still beautiful, So anyways, that's what I think about in my free time. So I wanted to share with you. So thanks for listening. Let me know if there's perfumes that remind you of a specific era of your life, for better or for worse, and what perfumes that you might want to be your future self. It's fun to think about. Anywho, thank you so much for being here and listening to me talk about myself for a very long time. But it is my birthday month, okay? And we have very few reasons to make things about us. And so don't mind if I do. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in my next one. Okay, bye.